Always going to be writing. That'll never stop. That's what we do, that's what I am, and that's what Barry is, and we're always going to be writing. You hear the music first, you can have a title, but you can always hear the melody first, and then you write lyrics to the melody. Because the melody must always dictate which way the lyrics go. And sometimes you can get a piece of lyric or a few lines just at the same time, but generally it's the melody first. Normally you can have the whole basis of a song within 3 hours if you get a good idea. And then what we do is we usually get the structure of the song within that 3 hours, and the following day or a couple of days later we'll go and write the lyrics. If it's a particularly strong song, a good song, it'll come fast and it'll kind of write itself. Which you'll find that most writers who've been writing for a long time will tell you the same thing. That it sounds fascinating at first, but once you've been writing for a long time, it's almost second nature. You know, you get a feel for it, and then you know how to structure the song. And Roy Orbison once said to me that if you don't remember a song that you're writing, then chances are it's not worth finishing. Not always the case, but in a lot of cases that is absolutely true, because good songs will definitely stick in your head, and the melodies that still stick in your head, stick in other people's. Melody will always be the most important part of the song at first. Lyrics are definitely important, and a good title is equally important. A strong title, that's the first thing people see of a song sometimes, is the title that draws them to it, or hears them, you know. Sometimes we've written a song based on a title, and a lot of times we've been inspired by getting a title and then writing a song around it. Actually, Staying Alive, we had the title first, and the strange story about that was we had pressure from everybody at Paramount to change the title to Saturday Night because of the film. And our argument at the time was there's about 3,000 songs called Saturday Night, and it wouldn't be anything different. They thought Staying Alive was too abstract, too aloof, too academic for people to connect with. And we said, well, the reason we like it is because it is different, it's unusual, and there was that thing about being different, you know. We don't want to be like everybody else. We want something, if this works, it's going to be remembered. But they agreed in the end we could keep it Staying Alive. We held our ground, as indeed, as history has revealed, and it became Staying Alive. And of course, it worked. And I don't think it would have worked as well if it had been called Saturday Night, because if we had Saturday Night and Night Fever on the same album, it would be too bland, I suspect, having one track called Night Fever, another track called Saturday Night. We interpreted Jive talking as a kind of like, you know, not as lying or bullshit, which is what Jive actually means and meant. And we understood as Jive talking as talking in rhythm, you know, but as in a musical expression. And we wrote it quite candidly in that way. And of course, Arif said, "That's great, that's wonderful, you know, it's a great, because everyone's using that expression right now." And we didn't realise that, it was completely accident. And he thought that's how we meant it, because that's what he'd heard, you see. But, and we wrote it with the words and everything before he came up to us. You do know what this means, don't you? Because that's how you've written it. The lyrics lend themselves completely to that. You do know that that's what you're singing. And we said, well, when he told us what it meant, we weren't. But the lyrics fitted perfectly. Everybody likes to hear the very first songs that happen for you, and in fact, we'd never been to Massachusetts when we wrote Massachusetts. We just loved the word. It was written on a small boat in New York Harbor one afternoon near the Statue of Liberty, quite honestly, very choppy water. And it had really nothing to do at that time with Massachusetts, and so again, it's the same like To Love Somebody, for instance, was written on a boat in Monte Carlo Harbour. It was actually that afternoon that we wrote To Love Somebody, where we first heard Brian Epstein had committed suicide. He was the manager of the Beatles. And we were with Robert Stigwood, and it was when Robert's assistant came down to the boat and said, "Brian's been found dead in England." Now, Night on Broadway was written at the same time as Jive Talking on the main course album, with Arif as producer. And again, we called it Lights on Broadway. That was Night on Broadway. And he said, Lights on Broadway, oh, very nice, terrific, but it would be more seedy because Broadway is not really, we know with lights, but we want the darker side of Broadway. It would just be a nicer edge. He said, every time you sing that, I hear the word nights rather than lights. So, all right, we'll change it to nights on Broadway because he said, that's dark, it's more seedier, it gets more, and of course he was right. But the ironic thing was, we couldn't stop singing Lights on Broadway when we recorded it. So we kept singing Lights on Broadway and finished it. The irony is, when the record came out and it debuted on the charts on Billboard, it debuted as Lights on Broadway. A mistake of a typographical error, just for 1 week. Isn't that strange? Well, I thought it was fascinating anyway.